The following is brought to you by the Social Suplex Podcast Network.
BWB, this is One Nation Radio. You better get it right. Rich Latta, James Boyd came to give them life. The Blackest Wrestling Podcast has come to kick all ass and drop it 6 feet if they kicking trash. Word, let me welcome y'all to something different. And if you dig it, man, you should let some friends listen. We be getting it in, this on the regular, dude. Ravish and flow, but this shit rude. See, James don't rap, so I had to break it down. The whole network, man, we coming for the crown. Raps in the columns, I keep them both covered. Making the beats too, so the listeners can bump it. Hit us with the rating, yeah, I'm saying it's a 5. Before you hit it, talk, bob your head side to side. It's One Nation Radio, and this is the beginning. It's Rich, and I'm here with James. It's time to listen to One Nation.
We got to unleash the power of the pyramid.
This is Mike Sempervive from WrestlingObserver.com. Check me out on Wrestling Observer Live every day. And also check out your boys, Rich and James, on One Nation Radio.
This is Kenny Omega. We're listening to One Nation Radio. Check it out, guys. These guys know what's up. Big Kenny Omega fans. That's all that counts to me. Goodbye and good night. Bang.
Welcome to the April 13th edition of One Nation Radio. James, what's going on, man?
Not much. Let's go.
This man sounds defeated. WrestleMania 34 has kicked the shit out of this man, apparently.
This whole weekend kicked the shit out of me. And I know there were a lot of great things I saw, a lot of good things I saw. I would probably say this weekend was one of the better weekends of my wrestling fandom, but I just this fucking show. We'll save it for later, but let's go.
All right, before we get started, I just want you guys to make sure you guys drop your reviews on your podcast app of choice, whether it's iTunes, Stitcher, however you're listening to this. It helps out the network a great deal, and make sure you check out all the other shows on the network, Keeping It Strong Style, Ricky and Clive, what's up, guys, and the newly debuted Outsiders Edge show with Rance and Carl. And, of course, One Nation Radio with me and James. But, yeah, man, it's time to get to it. We were in New Orleans. We did not attend NXT or WrestleMania, but we got to watch them on TV. So you were getting the TV review. You're not getting an in-person review. If you were looking for some info on, the shows that we attended and all that, that will be actually on episode 19 of Keeping It Strong Style if you want to go ahead and listen back to that. But I guess we can do NXT and WrestleMania, James. Where would you like to start?
I mean, let's just do it in chronological order.
All right, so NXT, absolutely phenomenal show, top to bottom.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with that. I think we've gotten in a weird habit of ever since we kind of noticed that the talent has dwindled down. These takeovers have somehow figured out a way to become more consistent and have higher highs than even the original bar that was set by the the Nevilles and Sami Zayns and Charlottes and Sashas of the world. So I think since Brooklyn 3, or maybe since Chicago, we've kind of been in this kind of thing where like they keep raising the bar and raising the standard, and there's another one where, to use the pun of Sheamus Cesaro, like the bar keeps getting raised, and it's very, very impressive. I think at this point, probably for a full year, 10 months or so, me and you have been both kind of been on the same thinking and saying that that NXT kind of it's the most bankable thing in North American professional wrestling. I have to see them catch a brick in real time for me to actually believe that they'll ever catch a brick.
Yeah, man. And the thing with NXT, I think, is it's not and I think I fell into this trap originally before, where I was like, man, how are they going to reload after they lose, guys like Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn and folks like that. But they've done such a great job, not only making stars for NXT, but also refreshing bringing in the hottest guy at the time at the right time, with Ricochet making his debut here, and first match in the promotion, 5 stars. Yeah, so let's go through let's go through the matches. Also, I saw this joke. Lars Sullivan, more 5-star matches than Okada this year.
Wow.
Yeah.
Alrighty then.
Those jokes are out there. They exist. But yeah, man, so we had a ladder match for the NXT North American Championship, new title being introduced, a little bit of a classic vintage feel on the belt. And the match was between Adam Cole, EC3, Killian Dane, Lars Sullivan, the aforementioned Ricochet, and the Velveteen Dream. James, what did you think of this match, and who were you impressed by the most?
I mean, the obvious person to say is Ricochet. I mean, like, his first move in NXT is a freaking is a shooting star press onto a bunch of guys.
Perfect.
Honestly, to me, I'll probably say the most impressive person would be EC3, because that poor schmuck, he had to wear it left and right in this match, whether it was people falling on him or people throwing stuff on him or whatever else. Like, that man was the ultimate catch machine on Saturday night. It was great.
Yeah, it was almost like who killed EC3.
I shudder to think of what that man felt like the next morning.
Yeah, he took a real ass whooping. Like, as far as being the guy that was taking all the ladder spots, all the big falls, catching everyone. Like, he definitely earned some real man stripes in there without having to wrestle Mick Foley. Yeah,
when I think of ladder matches of somebody doing all the dangerous stuff in it, the one that comes to mind perfectly is Triple H against Triple H in a match against The Rock at the SummerSlam '98, where if you forgot how or who won that match, after watching that match, you'd be like, there's no way in hell Rock should win this fucking match. After given that he took one little small thing, but every single thing else is about Triple H bumping all around the place on the ladder, everything else. And EC3, I mean, there was a fight with people in that match, but EC3 was at the forefront of, I want to do all the big bumps and all the dangerous stuff, so that y'all can feel like I'm one of y'all immediately. That's what it felt like. It was almost like for frat initiation.
Yes. That man took the gang initiation and came through, and the winner of the match was Adam Cole. I haven't necessarily been thrilled by Adam Cole's work in the past, but he seems to have a rabid cult fan base that is riding or dying with this Adam Cole baby stuff. So I'm going to just see where it takes us with him. I would have liked to see Ricochet win, but, you don't necessarily need to give him a belt immediately. Also, you can, earmark him for the NXT Championship eventually. Velveteen Dream also would have been a nice choice, but Lars Sullivan and Killian Dane, I think, exerted themselves well as being the big guys and, kind of holding the match together in a different way, being... It was almost like two groups of performers in here. It was Killian Dane and Lars Sullivan, and then they divided the rest of the guys, amongst them, as evidenced by that double ladder spot where 3 of the guys were there, and then they did the same ladder spot essentially with the other 3 guys. So I thought it was a really cool thing, and all these guys were willing to go out there and die for it, as they say. And Velveteen Dream and Adam Cole, these are all tough guys.
Yeah. One thing I enjoyed about the match was was kind of the story in it about Dane and Sullivan hate each other, and they're clearly built to feud in the future eventually. And so you see them, constantly one-upping each other and constantly stifling each other at different points in the match. There's also, and you told me about this when you went to one of the house shows, that they were already doing Ricochet versus Velveteen matches.
Yep.
And it seems like that's where they're going immediately in this program, or in Ricochet's first program after this debut. So they plant the seeds for this. I wonder what they're going to do with Cole immediately after. Who's he going to defend the title against or whatever? I'm guessing maybe EC3. I don't know.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure if he does that. He might be pulled more into that that Undisputed Era joint. How they got Roddy Strong with him now, which we'll get to later. So they might run roughshod over whoever.
Gotcha.
But yeah, man, they ended up getting 5 stars from that match from Meltzer. So congratulations to all those guys. And this comes 2 months after, or a couple months after Johnny Gargano and Andrade San Almas got the 5 stars. So NXT coming through. Next match was Shayna Baszler and Ember Moon. Shayna Baszler winning the championship by a technical submission in just over 12 minutes. I really like this match a lot. I know it was on second, but kind of looking at the card, how it all shook out, it's kind of where it had to be because, Adam Cole was doing double duty. I didn't think they wanted to roll him out there back to back after a 30-minute match. But were you impressed by this match? Because I've been seeing some mixed feelings about this match online.
I really enjoyed this match. There are people that think the match, or more in my group that think the match is 3.5, 3 1/4. And there are other people that think less of the match. Think it's 2 and low, maybe 3 flat, that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm one to believe, I have to rewatch it, but I believe that watching in real time that if you're someone that thinks it's more in the 3, I think you're more affected by the fact that you just got this huge, gigantic, all-time great ladder match with 6 people doing all types of crazy stunts, and then you have to readjust to that. So I think people kind of got swept on that. But I thought this match was a solid, or not solid. I thought the match was really damn good. I thought that maybe I wasn't that much of a fan of Shayna having to sell that much, but after what they did in the first match, and the for lack of a better word, the 50-50 booking they do in WWE, you knew that in a similar fashion to how Brock beat the living hell out of John Cena at SummerSlam 2014, that the very next match, Ember/John Cena is going to put up most of the offensive attack to get their heat back. And from that perspective, if you know that going in, maybe not know that going in, but if you can accept that, then it's an easier watch. But it is one thing to when Shayna has demonstrated she is real. The rest of you people are fake fighters, and for one of these fake fighters who she's bullied, who basically caught a flash fluke victory, to come out and bring it to her early and often. And I can imagine for a lot of people that were kind of into the Shayna thing to be kind of taken aback by that.
So I'm really big on Shayna Baszler and high on her. I didn't really have those feelings at all. I rated this match as a 4-star match. I was really into the whole part where Shayna popped her arm back in the socket. That really did it for me. And I was with the smoke that Shayna Baszler was bringing, and I was definitely impressed by Ember Moon as well, as she continued to be an excellent performer on takeovers quietly.
So where do you think we go from here then?
I think Shayna Baszler just dominates and runs through all these women until they build her next.
I'm sorry, as far as Ember.
Oh, Ember. She's out of here. She's main roster bound, bro. She debuted on Monday Night Raw this week.
What do you think? What do you think is next for her? You know how it is with NXT call up, so I'm asking you, what do you think is next for her?
I think she's going to have a problem on the main roster. She's never really had the best personality aside from the whole the aura that she brings and all that. I don't know how necessarily all her feuds are going to work. I could see this going, in the worst case scenario, worse than Bayley. I don't trust them with these NXT folks. I think, as long as it doesn't have to do with the wrestling, she's going to struggle. But when it comes to the wrestling, she's going to be, a serviceable babyface at the moment, because I don't know if she's a heel by design or anything like that. But I think she's one to worry about.
Yeah, I think we'll talk about this a little later, but this kind of looks like, Ember just debuted, and looks like Charlotte could be possibly Raw inbound. So there's a lot of moving parts going on, and they claim that Rousey is a what's it called, full-time talent. So eventually she's gonna have to start picking some of these women that and beating the hell out of them, so to move to where they're trying to get her. So I'm interested to see like what's next for Charlotte and her.
I don't know, man. Like, the whole women's division is in flux. Like, I think everything's in flux with the superstar shakeup. It just remains to be seen in that sense. But,
you know what I would love?
What's that?
I would love for the Riot Squad and Absolution to be combined into one thing, and Ruby Riot to be by herself alone without the Riot Squad. So she can she can work on herself. That's what I would like.
Yeah. Next match was the triple threat, the old school triangle match for the NXT Tag Team Championships and the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic Trophy. We saw an incredible heel turn from Roderick Strong at the end, where he just grabbed the armband of the Undisputed Era and said, "I'm in the group now. Y'all don't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
I was whooping y'all ass during the match, but I'm with you now." So, Authors of Pain go to the main roster. Pete Dunne kind of gets to turn face off of this. So, nice little match right in the middle of the card.
Yeah, I agree. I really enjoyed the heel turn for I guess heel turn, whatever you want to call it, a turn towards being in the Undisputed Era. It was also kind of funny. At the same time, he was like, "You just fought the hell out of it." And it's a gigantic plot hole where they didn't even try to hide it. Where he's fighting O'Reilly and hitting him and beating the hell out of him, and then all of a sudden, the last thing he says, "You know what? I just whooped your ass. We're probably about to be tag team champs and win the tournament, but never mind that. I want to be in the cool group." So he decided to opt out with the cool group in his old Ring of Honor homeboys, and okay, there we go.
So I'm rolling with the Undisputed Era, man. They got money, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, cool little thing there. They win or they keep the tag team championships, and they're kind of headed into war with British Strong Style as Trent Seven and Tyler Bate will kind of find themselves aligned with Pete Dunne. So we may be headed towards a War Games eventually with all these guys. So we'll see if it'll go a little bit better than last year's War Games. Up next was a singles match for the NXT Championship. Aleister Black defeated Andrade Cien Almas, one of my favorite NXT champions in recent memory, in just over 18 minutes, and I rated this one 4 3/4. I thought this match was phenomenal. All the offense that Andrade Cien Almas showed, like, he is fully prepared to be the man. Like, at this point, I don't know how anyone didn't see it before. I'm glad they do now. I'm glad this guy is firing on all cylinders, and I don't know if it was the time to take the belt off him. I'm not upset, either way, because I like Aleister Black a lot too. But Andrade Cien Almas I think he was hitting on something like with the belt, and maybe he could have rode into Brooklyn with that thing, and then eventually, you get him and Gargano again. But they decided to go another way. But what do you think of this match, James?
Yeah, I gotta agree with you. I thought it was a plan as well. But things change, and he's been at a level. He's been at a level that very few NXT champions ever been at, where seemingly everything's clicking at all the right things. Like the match is there, and whether or not you're a heel or face, or whatever else, that's really working. Like he has his whole act down, especially with Zelina. Thank God for Zelina. But Black, it's kind of felt like he was kind of the next guy. What it was going to be Gargano or him, or eventually, kind of like how it has been with NXT. Like not everybody gets that belt, right? So, I thought that's where we were going to go. We're either Gargano or Black was going to be next champion eventually. I didn't know it was going to be this soon for Black, but it's here, and I thought it was a great finish. Like in 2016, my God, I feel like it's just time to travel back in time. In 2018, It's not cool to see, regardless of how much she's cheating or whatever else. Like, no one wants to see her. No one wants to see Zelina get hit by a dude. Fuck out of here with that. So, she did all the cheating in the world, and then eventually it backfired on her. And next thing you know, Almas can't defend on the Black Mass, so he's out for the count.
Yeah. Really dug this match a lot. If you guys haven't seen it, highly recommend it. But y'all know what we're here for. It's time for the main event. Johnny Gargano against Tommaso Ciampa, a.k.a. that motherfucker, a.k.a. dude, a.k.a. bald fucker, a.k.a. a dude that walked to the ring in silence to bask in the booze. In an unsanctioned match, Johnny Gargano defeats this man in just over 37 minutes in an absolute classic. A match that I have gone on the record and said is the best match in WWE history. This is a masterclass in not only moves, but danger, storytelling. If you watch this from the video package until the end of the show, you can show a non-wrestling fan and be proud. Like, you be like, this is why I watch this. This is why, I'm invested in professional wrestling. This was the peak of wrestling, essentially, with Gargano and Ciampa, and I rated this 5.5. I know Meltzer gave it 5. I thought they blew, like, some of the 5-star matches I've seen out of the water with this one, just because of, everything, like all the callbacks, all the drama, and, Cornette's had his whole thing about Gargano's facial expressions. I didn't really care about all that, but this your time, James. Gargano's your dude, so what did you think about this, man?
I thought it was great. I have to rewatch the Almas match. I think the Almas match as from a work standpoint and a athleticism standpoint is the better match. But as you said, like, not all wrestling is just about guys doing moves. Otherwise, Will Ospreay would be the greatest wrestler to ever live. Or Ricochet or Rey Mysterio too. All those flippy guys would be the greatest wrestlers that ever lived. They're just amongst the greatest. I think as far as from a storytelling standpoint, they were given over 30 minutes. I think it was like 35, 37 minutes, something like that.
37. Yep.
37 minutes, and the match didn't feel like it lasted that long. It felt like it was almost like it reminded me in a certain way of like the first the Tokyo Dome Okada Omega match, where like it went 40 something minutes, but it felt like it was only like 25. Where like it just breezed through. You're kind of in awe of all the stuff they do. There's danger. There's elements of backstory with the crutch and the knee brace and. And also the finish where, he gives that dude one more chance of redemption, but he was willing to forgive, but not forget. And, he realized once that dude was still a piece of shit, he put him away. Fuck him. So, so I thought it was great. I thought that, it was really great how they, in typical fashion, most of the great psychological, hardcore whatever match that where you can do a bunch of crazy shit to each other. The idea of exposing the concrete floor and then like going away from it for a certain amount of time and then getting back to that, I thought it was great. I like the finish where he gives him the STFU with the STF with the knee brace around his face. Yeah, it was great. Like it is so much stuff in this match. It's my head's kind of swimming trying to think of all the great stuff they did in it. But, yeah, man, I think it was great. It was emotional. The crowd was fantastic. Moro was fantastic. Moro was clearly already chose sides, which I like from a play-by-play announcer, because play-by-play announcer is supposed to be a babyface. And traditionally, like, the best ones work out as baby faces, and they actually be behind the baby face. Like, I thought that was cool to actually show that kind of emotion, because it actually reached that point to where, like, there's nobody out here that's gonna be like, hey, you need to be objective here. Like, no, man, that's a good guy. That guy's a piece of shit. Fuck him. I think I rewatched this match twice, and both points at different times when they show that there is no rope break. For guys being in the corner, there's no rope break for a submission. Guys can continue to do what they do and put holes on you or beat the living hell out of you. I thought that was great to show you, like, no, this is an actual real live match that has no rules. I thought it was also a smart way to get those crunches in there by showing the by showing the Gargano fan in a knee brace and all that stuff, and him able to get the crutches out. You know, I said that during the match live when we were watching it, like, how are they going to involve a crutch here? And they didn't. I was like, that's cool. Like, it wasn't, just lift up the ring apron and it's underneath there.
Yeah.
It was, there was a plan. I thought it was cool. But back to what I was saying about to show you that there were no rope breaks. Like, there was a point where early in the match where Gargano was stomping the shit out of dude, and I was like, good, kick him till he dies. And like, great, that's fantastic. Like, let you know, the guys, that like ain't no rules. If somebody goes in this match, somebody goes.
Yeah.
And obviously, that's what they're trying to portray. Obviously, it's not the reality, but I thought it was great. I love this match. I don't know, like, this might be my favorite match since probably since probably my favorite match since Charlotte won the title in Charlotte and then ran to Rick. That was like SmackDown in November. So yeah, that was really big stuff.
Yeah. And NXT Takeover closes, unquestionably the best takeover of all time. And it seems like, we're saying that on a repeated basis every couple months. But this brand continues to be what professional wrestling is all about. Guys being in the correct alignment, the fans cheering for, the faces and booing the heels, and things just, working out the way it's supposed to go.
Yeah. Like, these crazy hardcore fans figured out who to boo and who to cheer. It's almost as if they will boo and cheer the right people if it's the people they want to boo and cheer, and they do it correctly. And they don't overdo it as far as shoving it down your throat or insulting your intelligence.
Amazing. So, getting to that, we're going to start talking about WrestleMania 34 now. Should we just start at the main event, James? Like, and just get to it now, or do you want to build up to this bitch?
I think that to best describe like the feeling of the show after it's done and after spending 7 hours on that thing, we should do it in the chronological order so you can see like how it went from being so good to like so you see the complete downturn of this thing, because like it didn't hit me that we were in the middle of a really bad downslide of WrestleMania matches until the AJ thing happened. And then I was like, yeah, this is really like, looking at the time, you're like, wow, this is really like going on really, really, really long. And then like we still have Braun Strowman and a kid, what turned out to be a kid, and him making a hot tag for himself. And then, probably the most shat-on match in WWE history, perhaps. So, I would say let's do it in chronological order. We can go through the early stuff fast. The early stuff.
Yep.
Isn't really anything that's all that newsworthy or whatever else.
Gotcha. So I just want to bring up the Andre the Giant Battle Royal. Matt Hardy won it, and Bray Wyatt came in with him, and there was some confusion of whether Bray Wyatt was in the match. These guys are aligned now. Cool. They last throughout Baron Corbin and whatever. Cedric Alexander.
The crowd, look. Yeah, like, it sucked. The crowd liked it. Let's see what they do with them. Hopefully, that's another tag team that's worth a damn on the Raw revision. So, whatever. Congratulations. Let's move on.
Yep. Cedric Alexander defeated Mustafa Ali in the finals for the Cruiserweight Championship. I think a lot of the matches in the tournament were actually better than this one. They got a little over 12 minutes. I love Mustafa Ali's outfit. He came out there dressed like Sub-Zero. Cedric Alexander was rocking the Black Panther kind of tribute gear. So I thought both of these guys cared about it. I don't know. I feel like if you want to see a better Cedric Alexander Mustafa Ali match, you can go back to the week before the tournament started on 205 Live and check that out. And because that was the match I feel like that turned the corner for 205 Live. Any thoughts on that, James?
I have a quick question. Like, so I know that nowadays we don't actually have the ref during championship matches or whatever else, like check wrestlers, check their boots or whatever for foreign objects, or check their tights. But yeah, bro, like didn't Cedric come out there with vibranium draws on? Ain't that against the rules? When you think vibranium draws be against the rules?
Bro, vibranium draws, like, what you gonna do with those? How will you lose?
That's my point. You would think that vibranium draws would be illegal, inexpensive.
Yeah. And I don't know what Cedric's exactly making on that salary, but I digress. So the 20-woman battle royal, Naomi won by last eliminating Bayley. Naomi is a babyface. We thought this whole thing was going to be a whole vehicle to get to Sasha and Bayley in a mini match. That didn't happen. Bayley just threw Sasha Banks out like she was common trash. The crowd went nuts, and then all of a sudden, old babyface Naomi was just standing behind her, ready to run it. What the fuck happened here, James?
I don't know. Like there's a thought process that Charlotte is going to Raw. So if Charlotte's going to Raw, Naomi has to be shined up because she is now going to be the new babyface challenger for the SmackDown brand. And that's like, but that depends on if they're actually in fact going to move Charlotte to Raw. If they don't, then what the fuck?
Yeah.
But even so, right? You had opportunity with Naomi to be the top babyface on that brand before, and you did jack shit with her for months on end, and then you took the belt off her, and then you had her basically be in 1,000,001 tags for the rest of that year, or into even now. So, something with her, that'd be cool. She's very talented. As are a lot of the girls. It's just they, last year they decided to punt on doing anything really creative as far as one-on-one storylines, and also multiple storylines for the women at all at once on one brand. So
what I just thought about,
especially after WrestleMania 33. So we'll see. We'll see.
What I just thought about, James? We got rid of Alexa Bliss as champion, and then we inherited Carmella.
Who's worse?
Like I don't know, bro. Like, yeah, it's just bad. Like they don't care about like having the good wrestlers be the champions. But
but meanwhile, you out here hoping and begging and wishing and praying that the Miz could be the fucking champion for for either Raw or SmackDown, so we can have the same things from the male division as well.
Look, we've had this conversation. The Miz is capable of a lot more high-end matches than either of these folks.
That is true. However, one's the main event, and one is some shit that you're quote unquote isn't a draw, so you don't have to really pay much mind to, as opposed to being the number one creation thing. Like, if they do that in the main event, bro, it's not gonna be pretty.
Look, I don't have to worry about Miz not being able to talk in a lead up to the storyline. I don't have to worry about the Miz not showing up every week. I don't have to worry about the Miz looking like a jackass from the stuff that he's saying. And if based on the WrestleMania main event we saw, I mean, Miz can hang in there.
Miz can. Okay, so if Miz got his fucking cranium cracked, you think he's gonna finish the match, or you think he's gonna fold up?
That's not what I'm saying.
Oh, hey, you talk about the match that was laid out.
No. I'm strictly talking about
from a 260-pound world class shoe fighter.
I'm strictly talking about like match quality. Like if that's what they rolling out here, Miz is more than competent.
Well, what I will say is this. If he's gonna do it with Brock Lesnar, he's gonna get tossed around and beat up. Period. So, like, you look at AJ Styles, you look at Braun Strowman, who caught the was that 2-piece or 3-piece he caught from Braun or from Brock.
Caught the 2-piece.
Yeah, caught the 2-piece. You can talk about Joe. You can talk about Roman's first match with Lesnar at WrestleMania 31. He got his ass whooped in that match too. Like, Brock is a stiff fucker.
Crazy. But yeah, on to the main card. Seth Rollins defeating the aforementioned Miz and Finn Balor in a triple threat match. Now, we got to talk about this damn Finn Balor shit. They get all the way to fucking WrestleMania, right? And they do not have this motherfucker paint up. Why?
Yeah.
For fucking funsies.
Because I mean, this is what
he's gonna fucking
right?
lose.
If they didn't want him to win, but don't you at least agree that they shouldn't beat him while he's in the gimmick until it's something important? Like really important, like a title shot, like a top title shot.
I don't think they should necessarily even make it a gimmick. Just make it war paint. Like, but they got to go ahead and WWE this shit up, like, and say it's a demon and it's some underworld shit. Yeah. It's like, nah, man, it's fucking paint. Like, what'd you think?
Now, I did hear people say that like it was. Now I did hear people say that this wasn't the biggest match. Therefore, that's the reason why you decided to use it. Like, my counter argument to that would be, well, he did the shit at fucking, was that Battleground? Or was that,
right.
I guess AJ Styles earlier in the year. What was that?
TLC.
Is that Battleground?
No, it was TLC.
TLC. He did a TLC in an exhibition match against AJ Styles. So, kind of don't want to hear that. Kind of throw that out the window because that's bullshit.
Yep.
Yeah, man, he look, I remember Scott Hall back in the day. He was still in his right mind. He was talking about wrestling, WCW and WWF, and he would say, he would talk about the razor's edge, or the outside edge, whatever you call it, the edge, right? And how, like, if he was gonna lose,
he wouldn't do it.
He ain't using it. No, he ain't doing it. You ain't finna kick out my shit. I'm protecting my own shit. And like whether it was Balor or the staff, whatever else, they decided to protect it. And look. We're going to get into it. We're going to talk a lot about guys being used and guys having stuff protected or not, and all this and the third, and how people have lack of protection, how people have been exposed or whatever else. So, like, if they're trying to protect one damn thing, I can't. After this WrestleMania, I can't really, Asuka streak up in smoke for a motherfucker that's going to lose in 2 days later. Like, I can't really be doing too much complaining about protecting shit right now, man. Can I?
Yeah. Seth Rollins wins the Intercontinental Championship, and he joins and becomes a Grand Slam champion. Shouts out to Rollins for that. I was a little puzzled by his gear. I don't watch Game of Thrones and all that. To me, it just looked gray. It seems like people really dug it, though. What's up?
Yeah, I don't watch Game of Thrones either. Like, I mean, it's one of the most popular shows on TV. It's not really my thing. Maybe I'll catch it eventually. But yeah, like that. If that's your thing, cool, whatever.
Yeah, you probably thought it was Raw, but for me, it was just great. But yeah, Miz comes off the IC belt, and maybe there's something for him in the Superstar Shakeup where he ends up back on the same brand with Daniel Bryan. We'll see how it goes. But up next, Charlotte Flair defeated Asuka by submission, retaining the SmackDown Women's Championship in just over 13 minutes. For my money, this was the best match on the show. What was that?
I don't know if it was the best match of the show, but at worst, it's the second best match on the show from a technical wrestling standpoint. They did a lot of stuff in this match. I wish, I have two complaints that are both minor. One was that I wish it was 5 minutes longer. And two is probably a part of that problem is that, like, I did not like the fact that it had, like, Asuka tap out after not much of a struggle at all, or even a chance to get out of the move one time with the injured Charlotte just slapping on her move with a bridge on one hand. Mm-hmm. Like, she was clearly weakened, so she clearly didn't get all of it in. So Asuka should have been able to fight out at least once, and then you slap back on, in 4 minutes, 3 minutes, whatever else. There are a couple matches that I thought the two of the three best matches on this card were matches that I thought, like, were also hampered and could have been better if they were given more time, but. We have to spend 30 minutes on a pretending, I guess, whatever you want to call it, on foreplay and teasing whether or not the Undertaker is actually going to show up and squash John Cena. So, priorities, right? Yeah, but I thought it was a great match. I thought this was the best. I thought Charlotte has had what you argue two of the best WrestleMania matches in two of the last. The best match at two of the last three WrestleManias. You can argue for both of this match and also 32. Like, if you're gonna build somebody by giving her a win like that, build her. I didn't, whatever else. I hate that they did that to her 2 days later after getting basically the biggest win in women's WWE history. That sucks.
Big time.
But I think the thinking on that is, at least to some extent, is that, like, you know, you always talk about insurance or whatever else, and like and protection or whatever else. Charlotte, you know, amongst all the people, amongst all the other people and non-important people that come in and out of WWE and get their ass kicked and get over or don't or whatever else and win and lose, go up and down and other shit. Like Charlotte, regardless of what you want to say, like she's a star because they, you know, the stuff back and forth with Nikki Bella and the stuff with Sasha. Over that point in time, she became an actual star. Where in all the first ever pay-per-view events and stuff that she did with Sasha, she's a flat out legitimate star. And you know, like out of the you know the handful of people or less than that they've actually done a semi decent job protecting, she's one of them. So I'm glad she got the win. It meant something. It was, you know, it beat Asuka, but it's Charlotte. So I'm okay with Charlotte being one of the two people that rightfully should have broken the streak, whether it was her or Rousey. So good for them, and I hope, you know, this is a springboard into or from this show, and what the two biggest successes of the show was, which was Charlotte and Asuka, and also the Rousey match, and hopefully we can, you know, flash forward to a year from now at the top of the marquee, Rousey versus Flair. I would love to see that be the main event of WrestleMania 35. I would love it.
So, I was glad Charlotte was the one to end the streak rather than just feed it to Ronda Rousey off rip. You know, at the time, Charlotte has a legitimate history of being a phenomenal wrestler. I can understand why they did it. I would have liked Asuka to look a little bit stronger in the feet, but they make those calls how they make them, unfortunately. If your plan is Charlotte and Ronda eventually, I think Asuka is the way to enhance Charlotte even more. And, you know, Asuka's beat everyone already, essentially. I mean, she can just go back to beating everybody. My only fear is hopefully they don't treat her like everyone else. And, you know, now that they've got rid of the streak, that they feel like they can do fuck shit because this gives them a license to. I hope not. I hope Asuka can, you know, be angry. I hope that she gets moved over to SmackDown so she can go after Carmella and kick her fucking head off and, you know, figure it out from there. But, yeah, man, I think they had a special match here. I wish it was longer. Charlotte's entrance was absolutely phenomenal. Playing Rick's music out there, having, you know, the guys in there, you know, helping her off the throne, all the gold. Like, Charlotte was like immaculate this WrestleMania. She may have been the MVP of WrestleMania. Like, I was so impressed.
Like it was this weird thing where like there are all these callbacks from this WrestleMania were like callbacks to WrestleMania 30 or 31, which is weird. Like first time we ever see Charlotte on WWE television as a talent is at WrestleMania 30. You know, like playing like one of these, I guess, like sirens or whatever for Triple H, and then all of a sudden, like, they bring it full circle and she does it. She's now the queen or whatever. She's Cleopatra. She's, you know, she's Helen of Troy. She's all that. And like, and she has these dudes with her, like, they're basically like, you know, like taking care of every women need. And then like, you also have, you know, Daniel Bryan back in New Orleans, and you have Undertaker back in New Orleans, and you have like 31 where like it's Brock versus Lesnar. And like, there were so many callbacks to those two WrestleManias, and it's just crazy.
Yeah, man. Following that match, we had the U.S. title match with Jinder Mahal defeating Randy Orton, Bobby Roode, and Rusev. Now, Rusev has had an interesting week in WWE. He was famously inserted late into this match, only to do the job to lose on Rusev Day. And while he's being, you know, one of the most over guys in the building, I don't understand it. And they obviously give the belt to the worst motherfucker out of them all. It is the U.S. title, so I don't really care. I saw so many other things on this show that pissed me off. This like almost didn't even register. But Randy Orton with another WrestleMania, essentially he can just mail in. not really too impressed by Orton this year. I don't understand the point. Bobby Roode was kind of just hanging out, but they worked at a really fast pace. But Jinder wins, and it all led to Jinder Mahal versus Randy Orton again. What the fuck do we do to get this match, James?
I don't know. Time is a flat circle. Like the same shit that's been done will always be done for then until the end of time. From a fourth dimension. So from a fourth dimension perspective, and I guess the fourth dimension was brought to 3D, and we're back with this again after another WrestleMania. So yeah, have fun with that, guys.
Yeah, Jinder Mahal is the U.S. champion, winning the U.S. title a year too late. Wouldn't have. This probably would have benefited him last year a little bit more than this year, because I feel like he has a certain amount of kind of go away heat with everyone. It's like, whatever, man. We see what y'all are doing with this. Like, just do what the fuck y'all want, and we'll worry about the main event and all the other guys on SmackDown at the moment. If he doesn't move to Raw or something.
Can you imagine him being on a 3-hour Raw,
bro?
On every single week?
There's no way. And The Rock means no way.
That'd be so painful.
Like, but let's get on to the mixed tag team match. Kurt Angle and Ronda Rousey defeating Triple H and Stephanie McMahon in just over 20 minutes in the mixed tag team match. This match went from like 0 to 100 real quick, as they say. Kurt Angle was in the beginning of the match looking super washed, and then it all turned around. This was an enjoyable, fun, like on the edge of your seat, perfectly laid out masterpiece of a match by Triple H. Stephanie was excellent. Rousey was excellent. Angle was washed. Let's not get it twisted or anything. But he didn't have to do much. I probably wouldn't. I know he's going to be in the Greatest Royal Rumble and all that, but his days are numbered. What did you think about this match, James?
I thought I'm now even more convinced than I was after SummerSlam 2014 that Stephanie should wrestle once or twice every single year against the women that she constantly comes on TV and buries all the fucking time.
We're back. We had some technical difficulties. James, you were saying that Stephanie needs to wrestle some of these women that she's been burying all year long.
Yeah, I mean, you look at how she comes in every single time, or not every single time, but like often, very often, and buries the talent, whether it be male or female. She hasn't really done it to any of the women as of late, but there were notorious ones where she in early 2017 where like she tells Sasha, for example, "I'm not the boss. You're not the boss. I'm the boss. Who the hell do you think you are?" And then the whole situation where she contributed to the burial of Bayley's career. So it'd be nice for them to actually get their paws on her and give her some of what she deserves. And actually, occasionally, for the purposes of keeping her heat, beating some of these women every so often. And I think it would be good for morale for that to happen, as opposed to her basically being positioned like she is the moon and everybody's just howling at her.
Yeah.
And she's really damn good. So
yes, Stephanie showed that all those late night training sessions weren't for nothing. James, like she's a workout warrior with Triple H, and she definitely I don't know if she like looked like the greatest athlete in the world, but she looked competent, which is essentially all I can ask for from a non-wrestler.
Yes, she looked competent, and she also wrestled as well as her heat will allow her to be believable. Certain people, if she was less over as a heel, people wouldn't buy her offense, but like she's really hated and disliked. Due to her years and years of killing people verbally on the mic, so she's allowed to not be the exactly the best worker in the business while still also generating tons and tons of heat. And if anything you can bank on is that Stephanie McMahon DDT will look great. So that's what we got to bank on.
What'd you think of Rousey?
I thought she was good. I thought that for a debut match, for somebody that has never wrestled in front of a live working crowd before, I thought she was really damn good. I'm interested to see what she does in the future. And if she, and hopefully, we can get the next out of her. We can get like the next Charlotte Flair, the next Bianca Belair, or somebody that can wrestle along those lines. Because, athletically is there. The timing, she was really good on her timing and everything. Obviously, she has issues to have to get more sophisticated facial expressions. But for where we are right now with her, like, this has been a complete home run for them. This is like the best thing they've done since at least the Goldberg thing, as far as building a brand new star or pushing a newer star or whatever you want to call it, like a top babyface. So I think, thumbs up all around for me. Home run, like all those superlatives, all the positive adjectives I could come up with for that. Like, it was great. So
went way better than I thought it would be. For me, the jury's still out. I'm interested to see what she looks like in singles matches, how often that's going to happen, and of course, what is going to be on the microphone eventually. Do they just punt and stick her with somebody, and eventually when does she become a heel? But I don't think you necessarily need to think about the heel turn yet, because people like her. I think that I think that they're going to make every attempt to protect any shortcoming that she has. So,
which they should, and which they should do for every single body they decide they want to push. Like, they don't have to they don't have to just throw everybody out in the deep water until they ask to swim. They can, emphasize people's strengths and de-emphasize flaws.
Yeah, that's what Paul Heyman would do so well. So we'll see if she ends up being drafted or anything. I highly doubt it, that she's going anywhere but Monday Night Raw. But yeah, we'll see. I gave this match a 3 3/4 rating. Originally it was 3.5, and then I bumped it up. Just thinking about how well it went in the fallout and everything. And Triple H gets to take this one to his grave. Like, yeah, man, I was out here bumping for a woman at WrestleMania, so what y'all gonna do? So, and he also looked like Triple H in 2000 showed up.
Yeah, like, it's amazing how that man's anti-aging.
That man inhaling all the PEDs.
I'm not going there with you. All I will say is, it's a real Benjamin Button shit going on with him right now.
Some ain't right, as I would say. Something is not right.
It seems that Triple H has figured out a way to, physically at least, he has figured out a way to reverse the hands of time.
Yeah.
He's getting younger. Meanwhile, everybody else is getting older.
Yes. He is waking up in the morning, clanging and banging. That man still thinks he's in a rivalry with The Rock, James.
Maybe he is. Because, look, The Rock, The Rock got the gray beard and everything else. Triple H, that man still blonde.
Fighting it off.
Hairline still strong.
Very strong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah, I don't know what Triple H got figured out, but he's got the stuff, as they say. But moving on, the SmackDown Tag Team Championships, the Bludgeon Brothers defeated the Usos and the New Day in just over 5 minutes, and this is where things start to take a turn. James, I want nothing more than the quote-unquote palate cleanser, the quote-unquote cool down match. I want that shit to disappear from, go the fuck away. Like, I don't need it. It is nothing but a crowd killer, because there's no guarantee you will ever get the crowd back, and I think the rest of this show evidenced that. This is something that only WWE does in modern times. The way any other card is built anywhere else in the world, you don't have to worry about a tired crowd, because everything they want to see is on at the end.
Well, their WWE logic is, everybody else is wrestling, we're sports entertainment. Well, you were not sports entertaining at all after the last 3 hours of this show for the most part. So that's the lesson they got to learn. And also, here's another idea: don't book that many fucking matches.
Great point. The Usos finally make their WrestleMania debut for a 5-minute match. I'm sure those guys couldn't have been happy about that. I definitely wasn't. The Bludgeon Brothers, pretty much, this is the first time Harper and Rowan have won the tag team title as a unit, if I'm not mistaken. The New Day came out here. I thought their entrance was absolutely ridiculous and stupid, and all the digitally imposed entrances, all that shit got to go, bro. All of it got to go. What did you think about this, bro? Like, because this is like kind of where it all, like, you know, the cracks in the ship started forming.
Yeah, that good Charlotte. It's all downhill from here. Man, this is one of these matches where, like, if they were going to put it on for X amount of time and give him, like, what happened on this card where it seemed like shit that most of the good shit ended up getting cut short, then they should have not put the fucking match on. Like, it was a nothing match. Nobody gets over. Like, are the Bludgeon Brothers one more bit over than they were after they destroyed the New Day and the Usos at Fastlane?
I think they're right there to just have belts with them now.
Yeah. Like, that served no purpose other than just to get them on the show. I mean, it's cool. They got a cut of the WrestleMania DVD or Blu-ray, whatever. But, like, this, I mean, not everybody gets a moment in the sun, and not on every single how do you say it? Everybody gets their moment in the sun on every single sunset, right? So, like, if you had nothing planned for them outside of being a filler match, drop them and give your other stories more time, or make the show shorter.
Yeah, man. The Usos, I thought, were the best act in WWE of 2017. You know, disregarding, like, you know, AJ Styles and Braun Strowman, like, you know, the Usos are right there going into this thing, cutting excellent legacy-enhancing promos. All they needed was, you know, that great WrestleMania match. They didn't get a chance to have it. So I feel bad for those dudes. The New Day, of course, another inconsequential WrestleMania to add to their legacy. This match was an all-out failure.
Yeah, like, one thing that kills me is, like, people talk about, you know, somebody's over or this and the third and merchandise and what they sold and all this other shit.
Don't fucking matter.
Very few people sell more merchandise than New Day has over the last roughly 3 years. Nobody has been as good has had as many compelling feuds or has put on as much good TV as the New Day and the Usos against each other over the last year. And you still found 5 minutes for them, and, you know, like, I mean, they would have been better off not being on the card or being on the pre-show and being able to go for X amount of time and then complaining about how they were left off, than to actually get 5 minutes and be able to do exactly jack shit with it. I mean,
unbelievable.
At that point, like, you giving them 5 minutes took away from other shit that you felt that was more important that could have built. Like, Nakamura and AJ damn should have used another 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I wish they did better with them, but they didn't, and in the end, it also helped overall dampen the entire back half of the card. So, that was a failure.
Yep. Speaking of failures, up next, John Cena was out. We missed this. John Cena was sitting in the crowd as a fan the entire night, right? Drinking beer, getting cut to every couple minutes, and then, you know, during Charlotte's
drinking on the job.
Yes, word to Austin. Charlotte was doing her celebration after she won the match, and John Cena, a referee, runs out, and John Cena ends up running right past Charlotte, kind of upstaging that moment, taking it away from her. And
totally. Also caught Asuka looking like perplexed in a funny, smiley way, which was like her streak just got broken. She should look devastated. Instead, she has to play off of this fucking goof jumping over the rope or jumping, you know. Yeah, this goof that's right now civilian being able to jump into, like, the workers' realm and then run to the back. So yeah, that was also another part that like was also sucked about WrestleMania 34.
Look, man, I would have gone for Asuka laying out that civilian with a spinning heel kick. Like what are you doing jumping over this ramp? You know, this is not for you, baby. Like,
right.
But yeah, John Cena came out, huge pop, and you know the whole thing was implied that the Undertaker was here. So he got in the ring, started cutting his promo and talking all this mess, and then he was met by Elias. Oh my god! They brought Elias out there to play a song, and guy's over. They bring him in the ring and fuck him up and whoop his ass. And this is like, it takes like 20 minutes to do this. You couldn't have gave the Bludgeon Brothers and Biggie and the Usos a couple more than minutes instead of
Not even that. Like, I have such an issue with I'm sure you are too, but I'm so tired of the new talent that gets themselves over, whether I like them or not. Like, people like Elias a lot, and like I've had to come to the conclusion. Look, and I've done this before. Like, if the shit ain't for me, but people like it, I'll rock with it because other people like it, and not everything's meant to me because it's a gigantic variety show. That's why the thing's 3 hours long. That's why Raw's 3 hours long. That's why SmackDown's 2 hours long. So Elias is over, but instead of like same thing with Rusev Day, instead of capitalizing on that by rewarding them with something or just giving them time to shine in a moment
or a match,
what do? They whoop his ass. My God is about to get whooped.
Yep. They whoop his ass.
He got his ass whooped by somebody that got his ass whooped.
Man was about to come out here and do a job in 3 minutes, and then he had to get his ass like drug and beat down like a jabron. Like, they could have put just like, I don't know, man. Like, it's disheartening, and I'm in the same boat with you with Elias. Like, I don't really think he's anything special for my taste. WWE clearly doesn't trust him to wrestle, like, based on this first calendar year. If you can name so like 2 or 3 matches that Elias had on pay-per-view, I'll give you $1. Like, I know he wrestled Jason Jordan in a throwaway on pay-per-view once. Besides that, what else you got? The Elimination Chamber that they just threw him in as the 6th guy. They clearly, like, there's something in the ring that they don't trust. But he got over in spite of that. So why do this to him? But
and this ain't the first time he's got his ass whooped by John Cena either.
Yeah. So
and there's no feud coming. He just got his ass whooped, but that's the end of it.
So, like, after Elias gets discarded like common trash, the Undertaker brings his old ass out there, and it takes him 7 whole minutes to get to the ring. The crowd lost their minds for this. They worked people into thinking this wasn't happening. We knew it was happening the whole time. And James, I told you from the jump, I was on Chad's show with Dave Finichel, and I told them I wanted no parts of this match. This is going to be stupid. This is going to be horrible. This is going to be atrocious. This is going to be trash. And it was all of those things plus more, as these guys went 2 minutes and 45 seconds and absolutely wasted a once-in-a-lifetime dream match that came 4 to 5 years too late, all because The Undertaker gets called into action either by Vince McMahon or he shows up for his annual $1 million check. The Undertaker is absolutely worthless in 2018. He was worthless in 2017. He's been bad at WrestleMania for years now. The Undertaker's just showing up. All this was confirmation for me, James, was this guy cannot have a match anymore. And they used John Cena to fucking do this. This is absolute trash.
Yeah, I don't know if he's absolutely. How do I say this? Yeah, man, like, he shouldn't have had the match. It was a waste of time. There's no silver lining on this. Like,
why are they doing this to Cena?
John Cena's your number 1 guy in the company. You squash him like a bug again. After having such a terrible, shitty, no good year at all last year after WrestleMania 33. Like, the worst thing that ever happened to this dude's like career, if wins and losses, like, if we were to treat WWE like under the prism of it was like 20 years ago when wins and losses actually mattered or whatever else, then like John Cena's had like the worst year of his career ever since getting engaged.
Yeah.
Like,
Nikki Bella's ruined his life.
I wouldn't say that. I would say like that man don't know how to handle like the
spirit of competition,
like, the honest life. So,
yeah.
But anyway, that's besides the point. This match should not have happened. Like even for an advertised match, even if you want to say it's an unadvertised match and it didn't matter, fine. And honestly, like it went so short that it couldn't stink. But
it was just a dud.
You put so much time into this that like you put so much time in it for that and you had Cena come out for weeks and weeks and weeks, and like that's all you got, and like there's no semblance or sign of a rematch. Undertaker's going to be wrestling Jericho at the Greatest Royal Rumble. Cool.
And the casket match.
This. Yeah, that has nothing to do with this. Like, you just came out there and just wasted a bunch of people's time for, was it 40 minutes or so? Something like that?
Yeah, it was like a half hour that this whole thing took. The match went 2 minutes. The Undertaker's entrance was 3 times longer than that. This was just like, fold it up, brother. Like quit. I don't know why people can't, just turn their brains off of The Undertaker, like, at this moment. What else do we need to see? John Cena could have been utilized against someone else. He could have fought Seth Rollins. He could have fought Randy Orton. I don't give a fuck. Like, at this rate, like, do something with Cena that he can continue, to produce for you. I don't know, man. This was really bad. This pissed me all the way off. They go right into the comeback, the way the match was done. And they have John Cena playing like he was spooked by The Undertaker's powers. This was absolutely, like, dreadful. Shit, diarrhea, ass water, everything you want to describe this match.
Yeah, I'm not going that far. I would just say it was a big waste of time. Nothing was bad, but at that point in the show and how long everything took to get done, I would consider it a failure, and I would leave it at that. Like they just wasted people's time.
They wasted our time for months, James. Months.
Not that too. Yeah.
Speaking of wasting time, Daniel Bryan is back after 3 years of retirement. He was back.
Yes. No. Can I go?
Sure.
Can I do this?
Sure.
Okay. So, Daniel Bryan, the champion that never lost his title, that tragically lost his career due to concussion concerns, and he comes back after 3 years to the spot where he had the miracle on Bourbon Street, or whatever Michael Cole has been told to call it.
Right.
And he's back, and after 3 long ass years, he gets powerbombed and he has to sell. He has to sell again. We waited 3
for
long
10
years.
fucking more minutes.
Another 10.
Oh my god. Oh, this fucking company.
Why? So that Shane McMahon can get his ass whooped and be bad at selling for 10 minutes until we can see like the wackest, longest, over dramatized hot tag of all time.
Bro, it was just like the crowd wanted to go crazy. They wanted to lose it, and they did lose it for Daniel Bryan during his entrance. They did show all the stuff that they were running away from when Daniel Bryan's rise to the top actually happened, with all the mainstream success that the Yes Chant took on. They lost their shit for this guy. And as you mentioned, they fucking apron powerbomb him and do a fucking injury angle, like right off rip. It's like, these fuckers can't help themselves. Then they have him stand there for 10 minutes, as you mentioned. And he finally gets in the ring, and then he clears house and whoops these dudes' ass inside of 6 minutes. And, the crowd's with him. All his signature spots look good. He's still Daniel Bryan, as, we saw 2 days later when he wrestled AJ Styles. He's still the same fucking guy. He's trolling y'all, too, that don't think that he can hold up to the pain when he did that drop kick, and he sold like he was dead, and then he kept up. I fucking laughed, because Daniel Bryan is cleared to wrestle and do everything that wrestling entails. Yeah, man. not the perfect scenario for him to come back. They went over. He beat Sami Zayn. I'm fine. Daniel Bryan's back. They could have structured the match a little better. That's the only real complaint.
It would have been a lot better if
this
Daniel
wasn't
Bryan had
set
started
to be
the
a blowaway match. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, this would have been a lot better if Bryan started the match, set up a hot tag for Shane, who then sets up the final hot tag for Bryan, and Bryan goes nuts. Like, that would have been a much better match, but whatever. They wanted to structure the guys for his first big match back. So
yeah, and up next, Nia Jax took on Alexa Bliss, who was accompanied to the ring by Mickie James. And James, you called this whole match the way it would go. And this was for the WWE Raw Women's Championship. Now, this could have been Sasha Banks and Bayley.
I don't even remember.
What was that?
What did I call? I don't even remember.
So you said Nia was going to wear Mickie James out to begin with. Or Mickie James was going to be there to do all the cheating, but Nia had other plans, and she got rid of Mickie James off rip. What did you think about this match, James?
Bad match. Good babyface, good heel. Crowd was behind Nia in a way that I did not anticipate.
Same here.
Which was a pleasant surprise. Which was a really pleasant surprise. And that was one of the the second to last feel good moment of the entire night, if you were to call that a feel good moment.
Alexa Bliss finally out of here.
As far as the match, not good.
Yeah, not. I'm not with anyone trying to pass this off for anything more than it was, which was a glorified 10-minute squash. Alexa Bliss came with her offense that no one believed. She hit her DDT that no one believed was the finish. The entire Superdome was just kind of watching, staring. But Nia Jax, the babyface monster champion, I don't know how much it has legs-wise, but if people aren't booing her, see how long you can ride with it. You don't have a Money in the Bank briefcase to worry about anymore, which I thought would be the ultimate undoing of her as champion. I don't think she's going to go anywhere. She's going to be the woman on Raw. So I would suggest getting her in there with as many good wrestlers as you can to bring the best out of her. Like, you need to have Mickie James go and run it with her. You need to have Sasha run it with her again if you decide on turning Sasha. Maybe, I don't know if the iconic, duo is going to go over. I don't really think, Billie Kay is all that in the ring, but Peyton Royce is somewhat competent. You got to get some real heels around her that can work and go. So I don't know if WWE is necessarily deep in that area. Maybe you do a superstar shakeup and you get Becky Lynch over there and you turn her. But I don't know. If you want to make Nia Jax a success, she's got to go in there with good wrestling heels that will bring the best out of her as a babyface. Not chicken shit folks that are just gonna run from her and cause her to have bad matches.
I mean, it would be nice that given what they've done with her, that she goes on a bit of a 2-month run just killing fools. It'd be nice if you do that, and then eventually when it's time to lose to Charlotte or lose to Asuka or lose to Rousey, she got a nice run where she looked dominant, and then you can move her down to the second slot after that, or if shit works out, continue seeing where it goes.
Yeah.
Whatever. I would just like them to run with the hot hand for now with the women's division. With Rousey there, that you're gonna have to build and build and build more and more of these women into viable threats for Rousey. So, this is the first what we got out the box. So let's see what we can get out of it to begin with.
Are you glad to see the end of Alexa Bliss's reign?
Whatever. I would say she did the best work of her career in this WrestleMania run-up as far as her ability to talk on the mic and her promos. Did everything to be able to get to the position to where she actually got the heel heat that she was looking for. She's actually good at her job as a heel, as opposed to the Bray Wyatts of the world that, the company does all types of shit like throw Daniel Bryan, have, Wyatt throw Daniel Bryan out 2015 Rumble, and most that does is get the crowd to boo their next fucking golden boy in training. So Alexa, Alexa's good with me for now. I think they need to move her. Now that she's down on the card or whatever else, like they need to move her off to wrestle more matches to get better in the ring. Sorry,
something else. Yeah, like I'm done. I have championship fatigue with her. Like
get her in there. Get her in there with, I don't know, have her feud with Mickey again or whatever else. Turn Mickey, have Mickey turn on her and turn Alexa into a babyface or whatever else. Just get her in the ring with women that can work and give her more ring time and let her get better.
Yeah, I think they need to consider taking her off into another direction because she's been the champ way too long.
Yeah.
So the dream match was next. AJ Styles versus Shinsuke Nakamura. AJ Styles defeats Nakamura in just over 20 minutes, retaining the WWE Championship. This match, man, Nakamura's entrance, incredible. I like the jacket. I like the guitar. I like the big feel. It wasn't an orchestra, but it was damn close. Between him and Charlotte, I think you had to look at who had the best entrance at WrestleMania. These guys, they did not live up to the dream match moniker that WWE promoted it as such, that fans have built it up. It's the rematch of Wrestle Kingdom, and this was underwhelming on every level, James, for me.
Yep. Geez, I don't know where to start. Okay, so do you remember, when's the last time you saw their New Japan match?
I watched it not that long ago, actually. Probably about 2 months ago.
Okay, what was done in that match that was so absurd or wild that they could not do in a WWE ring?
Nothing.
Okay. That match was what? 2 years and 3 months ago?
2 years,
right?
3 months ago, and it was 4 minutes longer, James.
Okay, so, unless AJ Styles happened to become washed up in the last, I don't know, what was the match with Lesnar 3 months ago? Or sorry, 4 months ago? 5 months ago?
Yeah, Survivor Series.
Yeah, Survivor Series. And if Nakamura somehow forgot how to wrestle since Fastlane with Rusev, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know, man. It is probably the most disappointing WrestleMania match I can think of since probably Undertaker Brock. Another part of WrestleMania coming full circle. Back in New Orleans, another disappointing gigantic match between two great workers.
And I don't, and after the match, it became clear, it felt like there was some type of agenda here. I feel like I saw this look on AJ Styles' face where they were in a hold, on the mat, right? And he has this look on his face I can't believe they're making us do this. And he was looking around the crowd, and the crowd just kind of watching, and no one really wanting to say what needed to be said. And when we were watching this together, James, you saw me twirling my finger all right, y'all, pick this shit up. Y'all just kind of laying here. What the fuck is going on? And it never got out of the beginning mode. It was just
they kept it stuck in third gear and never got to fourth or fifth.
It was a SmackDown match. It was almost a house show match. It was I
can't even say that because I've seen if you remember from the summer the Nakamura and Cena match, that match was far better, superior to this match.
Yes. Yeah. And I've seen folks say, well, you can't compare it to the New Japan match. Sure you can. They're the same guys.
Okay, fine. You don't want to compare it to New Japan match. How about we do this? How about we compare that match to almost virtually? You can throw every AJ Styles big match in WWE that he's had over the last 2 years into a hat, turn your head, look into it blindly, and pull it out. Compare it to whatever match you pull out that card. I guarantee you, it doesn't hold up. It doesn't compare. That match was a disappointment.
Yep. And with Nakamura, he gets a turn heel at the end, so it was like a telegraph thing, like where this turns out to be the beginning of something. I don't see why they couldn't have the great match too. Like is that too much to ask, James? Like it is WrestleMania after all.
Or better yet, seeing that it's WrestleMania and this is the biggest show of the year, so you should put on your best, the best you have to offer at on the show or most of it, right? If your whole idea is WrestleMania and it's the biggest show of the year and people are tuning in to see what our best stuff is, you give them whatever time it took in that post match, you put that out. You put that out there. And then from there, or you put that into the match. You give them extra time so they can have 25 minutes, 30 minutes, whatever it took to get that match to where it needed to be. Yep. The match was close. They needed to kick in the gear, just never caught in the gear. But you do that match, and then from there, if you want to do the heel turn with Nakamura, do it on TV.
Right.
Because as we all know, TV is typically lackluster, and there's never anything. It is rarely ever things that are dynamic that happens on TV, especially SmackDown as of late. So, do the heel turn on TV. It would have been interesting. It would have got buzz for a whole entire week. People would have been watching because it was a show right after WrestleMania. Or you could do the week after the draft. People would have loved it. Like, you don't see. There's a reason why most of the time on WrestleMania or gigantic shows, they don't shoot angles like this.
Because it has to.
They only put it on their TV to let their TV handle it because this, quote unquote, the joke is, this shit gotta last. You need to stretch as much compelling shit as you possibly can into your television.
Yeah, like it's almost a lifeline for Nakamura. I felt like WWE never really figured out how to use him as a babyface. And maybe he didn't thrive in that role. So this is going to be, as long as they don't make him into the I Hate America foreign heel, I think we're going to see a level of, urgency in his matches and also aggressiveness that has kind of been missing. But with AJ Styles and Nakamura, this, I don't know if it's a situation where WWE didn't want this match to blow the roof off because they were saving something for later. They wanted folks to have stuff in the tank. My only retort to that would be, well, the show was kind of at 6 hours long already, wasn't it? So, I don't know, man. I think they whiffed. Like, they laid out a bad match. Whoever's idea was to do the match like that, I'm not sure who did that. If you did not watch the New Japan match in preparation for this one because you wanted to be blown away, I implore you, please watch the New Japan match because you will feel like you were robbed. Like, you will feel like, why didn't this happen? Because it was not that different than what could be accomplished in WWE. This wasn't, this wasn't Okada Omega. Like, and even then, they were just wrestling each other. Like, so Nakamura turns and, we're off to the races from there. And this show is rapidly falling down. The clip we were watching with Josh, he was furious when this happened. And, the way that this whole match went down, I couldn't think of a more disappointing match like on this show. And this kind of was WrestleMania 34 in a microcosm. On paper, this should have been the greatest WrestleMania of all time. And for me, it comes in, like I roughly had estimated, there's probably 20 WrestleManias better than this one.
I don't know. Like, them early WrestleManias were trash.
I counted all those.
I would say, I don't know. I would say this WrestleMania overall, like, given the way the card was laid out, like, I would say it was a mediocre WrestleMania, and I will leave it at that. Like, there was stuff on that I liked. There was stuff I would love to rewatch, and there's other stuff. And there's also a bunch of stuff I would just like. I would never want to rewatch. And I think a lot of things is like the show live when it happens is that's cool. But like the thing with most WrestleManias is people go back and watch these WrestleManias like devoid of context or whatever else, and like these are supposed to be the biggest shows or whatever, for generations of wrestling fans. And
time.
You're supposed to remember, you're supposed to have all these WrestleMania moments, and you look at it and it's like, all right, who are the 3 biggest guys in the company? All right, is everyday guys in the company. It's John Cena, it's Roman Reigns, it's AJ Styles, and like AJ Styles ends his night getting his ass whooped after getting low blowed like a sucker. John Cena gets squashed. Roman Reigns gets his fucking head bust open and loses again because he's a fucking loser and a failure. Like, what a great moment to relive, guys. Go check that out on the network right now. Right? Sounds fun.
And up next,
the only great moments are the women, and that's great because hopefully they main event next year because they're the only people they actually did anything really memorably great with. So like, fuck these dudes, push the women.
At this rate,
real talk, push the women.
Like at this rate, if they're gonna do this with the dudes, shit, why not give it a whirl?
Push the women.
Why not give it a whirl? Up next, Braun Strowman and a 10-year-old child defeated the Bar for the WWE Tag Team Championships of Raw. I have so many problems with this. This was a way to make your business look stupid. This was a way to make you say, what the fuck am I watching? This is a way to make Braun Strowman into an absolute cartoon. And he's been a cartoon. Let's not get it twisted or anything. Except Strowman's like, people like Strowman enough to where this won't go over as an absolute disaster. A child won the tag team titles, James. I don't know how to process this. Like, what the fuck happened?
They love to have these moments where wrestling turns into Disney, right? Where anything can happen. Even you too, a fucking child, hop in the ring with 2 fucking badass motherfuckers, like heavyweight motherfuckers like Sheamus Cesaro. Sheamus, a guy who picks up people that weigh 260 pounds and throws them around for fun. Yeah. A dude like Sheamus who's strong enough to kick somebody's teeth out, right? On accident.
Like,
and the kid hops in there, and it was a moment for anything can happen in WWE. You could possibly get picked out in the crowd. My issue at this point now with the Strowman is he don't know how to fucking pick. Like, you saw all those New Japan motherfuckers that were on the floor.
Yes.
Like Okada was there, Tanahashi was there.
Suzuki.
Suzuki was there. Come on, man, you gotta do better picking than that. You pick Suzuki, you ain't never losing ever again.
Yeah, y'all hold them belts forever. Braun Strowman famously was kind of the leftover guy this year. He should have been the main event. He should have been going against Lesnar, and
he was Paul Orndorff for WrestleMania 3. Just in case Andre can't go, we're gonna put you over on the side.
Yes. And this is what they did to him. So this was trending all over Twitter, James. All over Twitter. When it happened, I think it was the #1 trend in the world. The kid Nicholas was the son of one of the referees. We came to later find out. I don't know, man. This really started hitting me like during this stuff that this WrestleMania has had 5 matches in a row that I was just like, what the fuck are they doing? Or 5 matches out of 6. Like, I can't believe this. What is happening right now? This show has gone off a cliff. And we have finally arrived to the moment that you have all been waiting for. The main event of WrestleMania 34, Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns for the Universal Championship. And this match stunk the building out. James, we could tell on TV. I felt like, I was like, James, they're shooting this whole shit so tight because they don't want to show the crowd. Motherfuckers are hitting the wave. Motherfuckers are throwing beach balls. They're chanting CM Punk. This is awful. Johnny Gargano. Everything else under the sun. Not a soul paying attention to this match. It was a terrible match. It was nothing but German suplexes, another Brock Lesnar special. This is everything that we feared would happen at WrestleMania 31. And there was no Seth Rollins to show up this time. There was no actual, like, compelling nature to the match of them going back and forth. This was just Brock Lesnar kicking this dude's ass after he's kicked this dude's ass in the entire lead up. Roman Reigns has looked like a biatch the whole time. He's whined like a punk. He's came out here and been like, you know, Lesnar is Vince's boy. Like, it's been the height of unreality. They're in full WCW territory right now, but that's a whole nother argument. They have this dude, Lesnar, put motherfuckers away for 1 calendar year with one F5, starting with Goldberg, Samoa Joe, Reigns himself at SummerSlam, Braun Strowman, AJ Styles, Kane. Who else? Was that it?
I think that's it.
That's it. So he puts all these motherfuckers away with one F5, sacrificing these dudes, making them look like punks who can't kick out of nothing, who are getting hit with it inside of like 6 or 7 minutes in the match and it's over, and just mailing in an entire calendar year. What the fuck they do, James? They make Roman Reigns kick out of 5 of them. 5! And it was comedy every single time. The first time, no one bought it. No one cared. As we knew was going to happen back in October when we first noticed that they were doing this shit. It's like, no one's going to care when he kicks out of, like, you know, an F5. They know that, right? Then it was another one. And as DJ Khaled would say, another one. Another one. Another one. And it just became a parody of itself. And I thought that the network had skipped, like it had gone backwards and shown me something that I had previously seen. But apparently that wasn't the case. This was a disaster. And then they busted Roman Reigns' head open to the white meat and had him bleeding like a stuck pig. They had him coming out there getting, I don't know if he got concussed, but that's a real fucking easy way to get one. And we have proof of that. If this is a company that is so concerned about health, so concerned about concussions and all that, why the fuck are we still doing this, James? And then I'll let you take it from here.
Yeah, man, I don't know. Like, this is also the same company that had, like, they let Kevin Owens fucking rear back and headbutt a 72-year-old man as hard as he fucking could in the head back in October. So, I don't know, man. They just make it up and go with
rules different
because why? Because it'll get people talking. Like, cool. Then what? Right? Yeah, man. Like, they spent 4 fucking years. They've used 4 WrestleManias to get to this moment, only to say, punt? Nah.
To choke.
Punt? We punting.
To choke.
They punted again. So,
to choke.
I don't know. WrestleMania 35 will be added this shit again, probably.
I can't believe this, James. Like, they're about to roll this shit over again.
Maybe. Who knows? Like, I said to you,
he can't ever be the guy.
In this, from a macro level, this is not some, this is the worst show ever. This is not. It's not even like the worst show they put on like in the last like 6 months if I were to think about it, right? But this show, and once you get to the end of it and you see what is the main character, the main protagonist of this show, and what happens to him, and who benefits from it, and you're just like, what the fuck for? What does Lesnar need with this win? What does that gain for the company that Lesnar gets this W? And also, like, look at all the damage you've done to everybody that's ever been involved with Roman Reigns to get Roman Reigns to this fucking point. For you to at the end of it say, I don't know.
I don't think you're over enough. They might boo you when this happens. It's like, what the fuck are they so terrified for?
And the part that kills me is like, if you're worried about the crowd shit on the match, then
maybe you don't book the match.
Don't book the match, or 2, look at what the fuck he did at WrestleMania 32. Nobody cheered for that shit. Right?
You're right.
People shot on that match too, right?
Yep.
So, I mean, we talk about WrestleMania and WrestleMania moments and everything else, and Roman Reigns has been in 4 straight WrestleManias. And what's his biggest WrestleMania moment? Like accidentally hitting a woman? Is that his biggest WrestleMania moment of his 4 straight WrestleMania main events? What the fuck is that?
Yes, that's awful, bro. 4 straight WrestleMania main events, not the A side of any of them. The definition of overpushed. Like, this is like they've kneecapped anyone that's got close to him, as you mentioned. I don't know why they're continuing to do this, not only with Roman but with Brock as well. Both of these guys present their own set of problems that have to do with WrestleMania and all the blood. And it's so funny how Brock Lesnar accidentally gets blood in every single big match now. It's really becoming a meme, a parody, and then it got even stupider on Monday night when it was like Roman Reigns said, you know, Vince couldn't even look him in the eye and smarten him up. Like, what the fuck are you talking about, bro? Like, come on, man.
So are we supposed? So you told me this in the first. You remember what I said to you?
Yes. It's like the elbows weren't even the finish.
Yes. So these shoot elbows that are supposed to be about like, oh yeah, you know, he went to business for himself and he shot on and he's supposed to quote unquote have shot on Roman, and then like Vince apparently like told him to do it like it's almost like a, what do you call it? Like the Montreal screw job, right?
Yeah.
Meanwhile, the finish was a fucking 6 F5. Are you out of your mind?
After Roman Reigns was running back and forth.
Yes, I can't. I just can't. Like, so yeah,
this
guys.
Was a
like,
colossal disaster.
Do you want me to tell him, or do you want to tell him?
You can tell him.
Okay, so guys, now that we've done this review that I've kind of been dreading to get away from and try to avoid doing, that Rich has hawked me down over the last few days to do it. Yeah, like I'm done with WWE for an indefinite period. Like the most I can tell you is the earliest I feel like I could possibly be back is like June. I might be back. I don't know. Maybe SummerSlam, maybe Survivor Series, maybe WrestleMania. I don't fucking know. But it won't. But a damn sure won't be before June, before the NBA Finals. I just can't. Like, I'm not. Like, I've been really unhappy with the product over the last like year, especially with the gender stuff. When I came back and what they've done with their top characters, like what they've done with Cena, what they've done with AJ, what they've done with Roman. I've really disliked how they beat the hell out of all 3 of those guys. Even though they're the top 3 guys in the whole fucking company. I was not a fan. I was not in love or enjoyed any bit of what they did with the women this past year, or the women's wrestling after what they did in 2016 as a whole. Like, really, the only saving grace for this company over 2017 at post WrestleMania was the tag team division, and you know, I don't know what happens with that as far as that. But like, it's not fun to sit through and watch 5 hours of television and get that little enjoyment out of it. So like, I you know, especially after this WrestleMania where 2 hours is cool and then the last 3 hours of it is just shit, or very, very, or a lot to leave. Or a lot left to be desired in a more polite way to say it. So, yeah, I'm gonna be going until the playoffs. Like, I can't pass up you know, seeing Giannis or John Wall or you know, Ben Simmons or LeBron or Durant or Westbrook or Harden or whoever else to this. I just can't. That makes no fucking sense. That's stupid. So that's what I'll be doing. And you know, I don't know. Like maybe I'll do the pay-per-views. I don't know. But and I'll do the reviews with you. I was a Brian if any shit. I don't know. But as far as watching it on everyday product, I just can't do it. Like it's too fucking stupid. Like you spent all year for all these dudes just to be fucking failures. Strowman fucking losing failure. That's to move on to tag team titles and create his own hot tag as tag team champions. Roman been rooming 4 years for this moment just to get his fucking brains bashed in. John Cena, top guy in the company, still go ahead and get squashed by the Undertaker. Why? For reasons. You know, I just can't do it, man. Like. On the other end, like, I'm trying to think who else. Kevin Owens ain't got a job right now.
The Usos.
I'm just done. Usos got their ass whooped in minutes. New Day got their ass whooped in minutes. Thanks, guys.
Yeah. It's been, So I've been sitting on this news for probably about, I don't know, since Friday or whatever. So we're trying to figure out the future of this broadcast, and it's gonna come to you in some way or another. But make sure you guys keep locked into the Social Suplex Podcast Network. There's a lot of good shows on here that have plenty of energy about the things they're enjoying. Keeping It Strong Style, also the Ricky and Clive Show, as well as the Outsider's Edge. You guys can reach out to us on Twitter. Convince James that he shouldn't quit. You should, shoot me some ideas. What you guys would like to hear us cover going forward, or me cover going forward. But yeah, man, this was I did not like this WrestleMania. It felt empty. It felt flat. It felt soulless at certain portions. And
you want to know when I knew that it was time for me to let this shit go, for at least temporarily? When a person that wrote a 500-page book about WrestleMania said this show was fucking horrible. I can't believe what's going on with this. Have you heard Chad's podcast this week?
Yes.
The podcast you were supposed to be on, but he said he didn't want you on it because he just had to, vent his frustration.
He had to unload, just like we had to unload.
When somebody that has historically been that positive about the product over the last year, like when we did the year-end thing with him, and he was like, I have nothing to give SmackDown Live as far as watching from, as far as his attention, because it's been that bad. From that point on, it's just been a lot of what we do on the show is run similar in thinking to how Chad views the product. And for us to just be me, you, and him just be man, this is the shits. This shit ain't fun. That last 3 hours of that show was not fun. And there's no reason for it to have to even be that long or to do what it does, but they decided to do it anyway because because that's what they want to do. And there's no other product on television that constantly tells their fans to shut the fuck up and like it more other than WWE like this. Any other show like this would be fucking canceled because no one will watch the shit no more.
Yeah, and that's also
or the ratings would go down, and then people would change, and then the showrunner would be like, you know what, we made some mistakes. This is what the fans want in this particular way. This, that, and the third, or maybe they're being hard-headed about this, whatever else. But I have to do some things to kind of accommodate the fans. Shit ain't been done.
It's come on, and I don't want people to misconstrue this as they beat the dude you like, and you run away or whatever. This is just let them have a chance to even be great. They're not even letting them do that.
Not even that. Okay, if you're a person that says, I'm not just, for the record, I think anybody that can go through our library on One Nation Radio can say we're both clearly people that are pro Roman Reigns, right?
Yes.
They have fucked this dude up for 4 straight years, and they're continuing to fuck him up. And now they're doing it on a worse level as it's progressively have gone by worse and worse and worse. And this is the culmination of
it. Just keeps getting worse.
Thing they've ever. This is the second worst thing they've ever done. The worst thing was the 2015 Royal Rumble.
Yeah. This is it's damn. I don't like what they did to that dude in and out of kayfabe. Essentially, why would you do that? And it's not a thing where you're actually even getting sympathy for Roman because no one gives a fuck. They booed that man the next night. You send Samoa Joe out there to absolutely fucking fry him on the microphone. And it's what the fuck are y'all doing at this rate? But, I didn't watch Raw or SmackDown live this week. Live as it was going on. I didn't regret it. It was it's something that, you know, I've been kind of racking my brain. I've had conversations with Josh, like how I'm going to continue doing this show and, you know, everything like that. But I'll be here next week. I don't know how it'll happen, but I'll be here next week. But I don't know like how much, and this is a little bit of what we were talking about with keeping it strong. So I was like, my love for wrestling right now was like at an all-time high over everything that I saw over WrestleMania weekend. All the shows that I went to, WrestleCon Super Show, Rev Pro, WWN Super Show, Joey Janela's Spring Break, Shimmer 100, Supercard of Honor, watching NXT in the morning. It was like, bro, this is Nirvana. This is wrestling Nirvana. And then WrestleMania 34 came around, and it was like, this is what they're serving up. This is like, you know, what they're doing with John Cena and Styles and Nakamura, and then Lesnar and Reigns, and this is what they've done to Braun Strowman. This is shit. Like, this is really bad. I don't know how anyone in their right fucking mind said this was a top 5 WrestleMania. To quote Chad Matthews, that's fucking bullshit. This is like, I don't know, man. This is bad. Like, and this shit's cost me my co-host, essentially. Like, fuck y'all. Like,
like, is this a show? And, you know, given, you know, this would be a completely different thing if this was, let's say 3 years ago, right? But given how well the network is doing or whatever else, and how many people we have covering actually, the WWE product, like, you now have a Rolodex, and also how well you've done as a writer. You now have a Rolodex of people that would love to hop in for a spot appearance with you to talk over what happened in this the week in wrestling. So, like, you know, like, this is a different time, and I had to soldier through because I'd have felt like I leave you in the lurch. Now you got probably like 10 people you call to hop on and do a show for to cover the week in wrestling for WWE. So, you know, you have that to fall back on. We have friends. We have colleagues to rely on in this situation, and I appreciate those that do hop in to do this, that spend their time doing this. When I, you know, me, you know, just not being fried on doing it and burned out from the experience, and just in future, thank you to everybody that decides to spend their time doing this, and to listeners of the show that like me and Rich's chemistry. I appreciate you, and I hope you guys enjoy. Whoever sits in the quote unquote chair next to Rich and does a show, the same level that you enjoyed me doing it. But I just, you know, just for my for mental health, I just need to like check out for now. But you know, I'll check in from time to time, and I, you know, I see Rich and talk to Rich almost every single day. So, like, I'm sure he's going to let me know about what's going on with the work, what's going on with the product. So I'll still be connected. I won't just completely drop off like I did when I was like 13 or whatever, and just drop this whole fake sport cold turkey for 10 years. So, or 11 years. So, I think this could be, I think it's going to be a time for good experimentation with you, where you can see, you know, what else you could do with the show as far as taking the other formats. You know, we're kind of set in our ways, but so I think this also be good for you too, Rich.
Yeah, might be a solo format. I've been listening to a lot of Bomani and trying to figure out, you know, the way he switched, you know, his thing up, and we'll see how it rolls, man. But thank you guys for listening to us over the years, and, you know, we've got, you know, as James mentioned, a lot of, you know, other, like, you know, like we built the trap, essentially, like, you know, like we've been doing this since like 2012 together. So if this is James's last show, which I'm sure it's not, but you know, I just want to thank him for soldiering through with me on this journey to get this shit popping. You know, Social Suplex, you know, came later. You know, we were doing One Nation Radio like long before, like, you know, we met like Jeremy through this. We met like Sierra. We met like tons of people, like essentially like doing this. We had folks on the show, Mike Sempervivi, plenty of folks, and, you know, gonna try to keep it going. So thank you guys for listening. This was our WrestleMania review. If you guys would like to send James messages showing your gratitude, you can find them at JamesBoyd87 on Twitter or in the Wrestling Square Circle Facebook group, which I don't know how much he'll frequent anymore.
I'm sure I'll still be in it and see what people have to say.
Yeah. But we up out of here.
Later.
Peace.
Thank you for listening to One Nation Radio. We'll see you next time.